السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الغمة وجاهد في سبيل ربه حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم اجزه عنا وعن والدينا وعن الإسلام والمسلمين خير ما جزيت به نبيا عن قومه ورسولا عن أمته. اللهم احينا على سنته وتوفنا على ملته وأوردنا حوضه واسقنا من يده الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. ثم أما بعد. We continue inshallah our discussion regarding Salatul Jama'ah, and last time we talked about who qualifies to lead the prayer, to be the Imam, and today we'll continue inshallah this discussion. For women, when they pray together, it is also good for them to choose one of them to lead them in prayer. And the qualifications we talked about last time regarding who is supposed to lead the prayer applies also to women. In other words, the one who knows Quran and memorizes more Quran and knows the rules of Salah should lead them. However, she does not stand in front of them. She stands in the first row. So she does not lead in front. She does everything the Imam does, and they follow her, but she stands in the first row. Aisha radiallahu anha used to do that. Salama radiallahu anha also did that. So when women come together, it's prayer time, it's good to pray Jama'ah, and one of them should lead them in prayer. Can a man lead a bunch of women? Yes, that's also permissible. Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, I have women in my house, including his family members and so on. They said, you read Quran, we don't know how to read, so why don't you lead us in prayer? So he said, I led them in prayer. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not say anything, which means this is an approval. So it's okay for a man to lead group of women. This happens sometimes. I remember one year in Hajj, in Arafat day, subhanallah, it was Arafat day, and we have a big camp, and one section for men and other for women. But the sound system, actually, something went wrong with the sound system, and the ladies did not hear anything, and they could not listen to the khutbah or join in prayer. They were just cut off. And I've been told, can you please give them khutbah and lead them in, because we pray Dhuhr and Asr together. I remember this day, the first time in my life, it was a place as big as this masjid and full of Hajjis, women. All of them are women. So I came in and I gave a khutbah and I led them in Dhuhr and Asr. So, as we mentioned last time, you can continue your salah if you are in Jama'ah, but you have to leave because it's something important, or you're afraid that you'll miss your flight or something happens. Then you can continue your salah alone. Yani you are in the saf, in the following an Imam, and the Jama'ah is going on, but the Imam is making it a little long, and you remember you have to leave now. So it's okay for you to have the niyyah of infrad, praying by yourself. Continue your prayer and then go. This is also, we mentioned the hadith of Muaz, who used to pray with the Prophet, and then he goes to lead his community in Isha, and some of them actually was praying behind Muaz, and during Salah he finished his Salah, the 4 rak'ahs alone, and then he went to the Prophet to complain that Muaz making Salah long. We also mentioned that if you prayed somewhere else and you came to the masjid and you find the Jama'ah, join them, even if you have prayed this Salah. That includes Salat al-Subh and Salat al-Asr. Some also say that after Asr you cannot pray. That's true, but if you find the Jama'ah, join them. It is mustahab for the Imam after he makes the taslim, to turn his face to the congregation. This is what the Prophet ﷺ used to do. In Salat al-Fajr and Salat al-Maghrib, perhaps the Imam may stay longer to say, La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, yuhyi wa meet, wa ala kulli shay'in qadir. It is sunnah to say that. So if you notice that the Imam does not turn his face quickly in Fajr or Maghrib, then this may be the reason. But Rasulullah ﷺ used to make taslim and he says, Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam, tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. And then he turns his face and face his people. اقتداء المأموم مع الحائل. If this masjid is full and there's overflow in the basement, it happens here in the masjid all the time, especially in Eid Salah, sometimes in Taraweeh, Khatm al-Quran. So there are plenty of barriers. So the ulama talked about this. Does the ma'moom has to be in the same place with the imam? Interesting. There was no sound system at that time, and the Muslim community continued to grow, and the masjid of the Prophet was not large enough to accommodate everyone, so people were praying in the street. But they could hear the voice of the Prophet ﷺ, they can follow him. Now, with the new buildings and the large number of Muslims, can we pray behind an imam who is so far away from us, like what happens in Haram in particular, either Mecca or Medina? You are very far away, but the sound system is perfect and you can hear the imam perfectly fine. Yes, you can. I remember one time we're coming to Mecca from Medina and all roads were blocked. The bus cannot go any further, and we decided to get out of the bus and walk, and the whole streets leading to Masjid al-Haram were filled with people. Men and women praying in the streets. It's even difficult to pass through. So yes, you can do that. And this may raise another question that is maybe more relevant to our time, when people ask about praying Jum'ah behind the Imam on TV. You stay home and you are watching the Imam, watching the khutbah. And I've been asked this question a number of times. Can we, because we can see live, Haram live, or any other masjid, local masjid. You can hear the khutbah perfectly fine, 3D cameras, you hear everything, and then you hear the iqamah, and then you pray. Now you're praying behind the TV, not behind the imam. And the answer is no, you cannot do that. In fact, I remember well one of the professors were giving a speech in one of the conferences, and they said that the French actually wanted this to happen. They were kind of afraid. They don't like to see Muslims coming together. Friday was a bad day for them in Algeria. And they wanted people to give fatwas that yes, you can pray at home if you can listen to the khatib. And it's usually the Friday prayer is broadcasted live, and you can perfectly hear the adhan and the khutbah and iqamah and salah. But of course, no, you cannot do that. Why? Because one of the reasons, one of the wisdoms or the objectives of Salat al-Jum'ah, it's called Jum'ah and Jama'ah, Jami', because it brings people together. The community come together and see each other. If everyone stayed home, the masjid would be empty, right? There's no point. So if you cannot come to the masjid, it's a different story. You don't have to. You don't have to pray Jum'ah. But praying behind TV is not allowed. You cannot do that. What if the imam left a fard? In other words, made a big mistake that nullified the prayer. Like for example, the imam, after he finished the salah, he remembered that he did not make wudu. He thought he had wudu, but he remembered, oh my God, I did not make wudu. Should he turn and call people and close the door of the masjid and tell them, listen, come back, there was a big mistake. Let's repeat. No. Their salah is perfectly fine. He has to repeat his salah, but the ma'moom do not have to repeat their prayer. Right? There are plenty of hadith when Umar radiallahu anhu was junub and he led people in prayer. Then he remembered that he did not take shower. So he took shower and he repeated the prayer himself. Not make an announcement. Those who prayed behind me yesterday, Maghrib, Salah, or Asr, or Fajr, whatever, you have to repeat your prayer. So if the Imam made a big mistake that the Ma'mum does not know anything about, then the Ma'mum Salah, the people's Salah is perfectly fine. They don't have to repeat it. Even if they knew later on, that the Imam has to repeat his prayer, they don't have to repeat their prayers. Is this point clear? In the hadith, Rasulullah ﷺ said that if the Imam does well, perfect wudu, and he did everything right, then this is good for him and good for those who are following him. But when he makes mistake, it's only bad for him, not bad for them. Right? فَإِنْ أَحْسَنَ فَلَهُ وَلَهُمْ وَإِنْ أَسَاءَ فَعَلَيْهِ. Right? So that's why to lead people in prayer is a great responsibility. You need to understand that if anything went wrong, you'll be responsible for that. But if you do everything right, then inshallah you'll get a great reward. Al-istikhlaf, we talked briefly about it. When the Imam has to leave prayer for any reason, then he may pull someone from the first row to continue the Salah for the people. In other words, Muslims should not spend any time without an Imam. And the word Imam here means leader. So if this Imam collapsed, happens sometime, Imam, like fainted. Have you seen anything like this before? Yes, what happened then? He died in sujood. So then what happened? Oh, okay. So, yeah, it happens sometimes because of the hot weather, the Imam is old or whatever it is. The Imam may just collapse. In this case, some people have to take care of the person, because it could be a heart attack, could be a health situation that can be saved, it can save his life. And the rest of the community, one of them should volunteer to continue that. If he prayed 2 rak'ahs, it was dhuhr, then someone should volunteer to continue the salah while others take care of him. This is what happened when Umar was stabbed. قال قتلني الكلب. So some people, of course, went and captured this criminal, and others took care of Umar. And I think it was Abdurrahman ibn Auf who led the community, and they finished the prayer. When Umar radiallahu anhu was taken to his house and he fainted for a while, and then when he came back, he said, did people pray? Did the community finish their prayer? The first question is concerned about. Did people pray Fajr? He said, yes, someone led them in prayer. It was Abdurrahman ibn Auf, and they prayed. Alhamdulillah. He feels the responsibility that Salah must be continued. The place of the Imam should be in the middle. It happens sometimes when you come late and the first row is not complete, or the second row in this case, and you see people in the right side and the left side is totally empty. That's not correct. If you come late, then you have to choose based on keeping the Imam in the middle. So if the line here is full, the first row, and the second row, you come and you see people going right or left, you should actually keep the Imam in the middle. So if you are forming the second row, or the third or last row, you should start from the middle, and then people come to the right and to the left. But the Imam should be in the middle. وَالصِّتُ Imam, as the Prophet ﷺ said. And if you are praying with someone, one person only, should stand on the Imam's right hand side, not on the left. If there are two, then they stand behind the Imam. Men pray behind the Imam, and then children, and then women. This is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Sometimes people make big fuss about this. The youth, who are telling the youth to go back. Well, originally the people who pray behind the Imam are the most qualified people to be Imams. Rasulullah ﷺ said, لِيَلِيَنِي مِنْكُمْ أُولُو الْأَحْلَامِ وَالنُّهَى. Let those who have wisdom and knowledge pray behind me, and ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُم, and then those have less knowledge, and so on. And why is that? Because if something happened to the Imam, these people, they know what to do. If the Imam made mistake in his qira'ah, they correct him, right? And then children, and then women. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about the first row of men are the best. The best of the rows is the first row, and the first or the best for women is the last one. Some said this because women used to pray in the back in the Prophet's masjid, and the further you get from men is better, of course. And if the first row of men is the farthest one from the women, and vice versa. What if you come and you see, for example, 2 complete rows? What would you do? Can someone pray on his own, come and then stay in the back? He can hear the Imam, obviously, with the sound system. Can someone pray alone? No. Some said it is makruh, but his salah will be okay, but he committed something makruh. One day Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam noticed that someone was praying by himself. He said, what's the matter with you? Why are you not joining the saf? He said, Ya Rasulullah, when I enter the masjid, I heard you saying Allahu Akbar and going for ruku'. I didn't want to miss the rak'ah. So he prayed at the door. He not, because had he walked all the way to join, then the Imam will say Sami Allah liman hamida, and the rak'ah will be gone. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, Zadak Allahu hirsan wa la ta'ud. May Allah, how would you say this? May Allah make you more keen to follow the sunnah, but don't do this again. He's doing it for good reason. He wants to join the jama'ah. So Rasulullah told him, may Allah make you one of those who follow the sunnah, but don't do this again. In other words, he should have walked, joined the jama'ah, stay in the row. Again, the whole idea is to bring people together and to line up. Rasulullah ﷺ said, stand in rows, stand before Allah as the angels stand in rows before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They said, how do they do that, Ya Rasulullah? He said they complete the first rows first. So the first row must be full. Then we'll form the second row and third, and so on. If there's any vacuum in the first or second or third row, it should be filled first before you form a new row. So what if you are the only one in the third row? What should we do? 2 opinions. One say that that's not intentional. He's not praying on his own intentionally. He wants to join the jama'ah, but he's the only one in the second row or the third row or whatever. Other opinion, which I don't really like, is that stand behind the row and then say Allahu Akbar, and then pull someone, supposedly someone who knows the rules, and this someone should take one step back, and then they become 2, right? You understand? So if you come, only one row is complete, and you are the only one coming in the second row. If you pray alone, then you may be doing the makruh things, okay? But you are the only one. So 2 opinions. One is that if it's not intentional, then pray. And you are the second row, one person, and perhaps someone will come and join you. The other opinion is to pull someone from the first row to you, and he should understand if he knows. Otherwise, if he does not know, you'll be in trouble, right? Maybe he will think you are shaitan or something, want to distract him. And don't be like the man who did this, actually. When someone pulled someone, and then he liked his space in the first row, so he took his place. No, you pull him to pray with you, not to take his place. I know that it happened, and this caused a lot of troubles. People pull someone, okay, and this someone does not want to go back and does not understand what's going on. This caused trouble. So that's why I don't like this opinion. If you are coming sincerely to stand in a row behind the Imam and you are the only one forming the row, then I don't think there's any problem. This does not apply. The makruh is if you can join the row but you decide just to pray alone. You can sometimes you see this in Taraweeh in particular. You can see like 2-3 people just forming a jama'ah, following the Imam, but they have their own saf somewhere. That's not the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Taswiyat al-sufuf, standing in straight line. That is one of the sunnah that Rasulullah used to teach his Sahaba. He goes after the iqamah, one row after the other. He goes, in fact, let's have 10 rows. He goes to check every row. This takes some time. And then he goes to the second row, make sure that they're standing straight, to teach them how important it is. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And if the Imam knows that this community that he's leading, they don't really care, he should actually spend good time between iqamah and starting the prayer to ensure that lines are straight. And to do that, the Rasulullah said, حَاذُوا بَيْنَ الْمَنَاكِبِ وَالْأَقْدَامِ. Hadhu, muhadha, means keep your shoulders, shoulder to shoulder and feet to feet. Rasulullah said that. It's not difficult. And of course, at that time, there are munafiqeen. They feel disgusted to pray next to the poor Muslims. So they like to just stand alone. They don't want to stand with people who are poor, people of suffah. They're not coming to pray, really, just trying to come to show off. And most of the Sahaba at that time were poor people, right? And these guys come with perfume, with these fancy clothes, and they don't want to stay in the row and to make sujood next to the feet of someone in front of them. So that's why they choose a place far from these rows just to pray and then go, right? And Rasulullah ﷺ teaches us the opposite. He said, لِينُوا فِي أَيْدِي إِخْوَانِكُمْ تَمَاسُوا وَتَرَحَمُوا. There's nothing wrong in touching each other. Sitting and the place is not that large. Tamasu, touch each other, shoulder to shoulder. If you are sitting in Jum'ah or Khutbah or Salah. And tarahamu, show mercy to one another. If you are standing in the row and the row is not straight and someone tells you, please, one step further, or some people get very arrogant. They don't listen, just pray. Just make sure that the line is straight, because Rasulullah ﷺ said, سَوُّوا صُفُوفَكُمْ. He used to say that almost in every prayer. سَوُّوا صُفُوفَكُمْ فَإِنَّ تَسْوِيَةَ الصَّفِّ مِنْ تَمَامِ الصَّلَاةِ. To have a straight row is part of the perfecting the salah. Right? Yeah, there are ruku' and sujood and taslim and tashahhud, all these things, but standing in a straight row is important. This is how Rasulullah ﷺ was really transforming people who were fighting each other and uncivilized to people who stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, very disciplined. They follow one Imam. They are all equal. Those who come first, take place in the first row. Those who come late, they pray where they find place. No rows are reserved for elites or wealthy or anything like this. It's always good for people to allow scholars or imams or hafiz to pray behind the imam. That's kind to do. But generally speaking, people come and they should sit wherever they can't find space there. And the same thing also applies to those who come late in Jum'ah in particular. They come late and they want to pray in front. Nonsense. You are late. Don't be late, and then on the top of being late, you are bothering people. Right? Don't hurt people. Just sit down wherever you can find empty space. Right? Any question? You want to say something? Whatever. I know that some massages like the heel should be in the line. No, is it the heel or is it the toes? If the community agreed with one thing and everybody is happy with it, doesn't matter, because to me both are the same. Don't make a big fuss about this. Big man? His feet is like this. Okay. But if your toe and his toe are next to each other, his heel will be exactly. So it's the same. I mean,
in order to make the straight line, I think the heel has to match, and that's what. So he's talking about the straightness of the line, not the rule on the where you are on the line.
But again, I don't want to spend so much time on this. But believe me, if there's a line like this, and you put your toe at the line, and everybody does this, the line will be perfectly straight. I don't want to spend time on this because practically speaking, we don't need to do that. But again, in a place like in Egypt, for example, people never pray like this heel thing does not exist. All right? So it's not a big deal. If the community agrees on putting the heel on the line or the toes on the line, if everybody does the same thing, problem solved. Right? So, but again, I can debate this with you afterwards, but I strongly believe both are the same. If everybody does it. Of course, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that to pray in the first row is better than the second row. It's always to come first, to show that you are not just come to pray, just you are coming even early and eager to pray in the first row. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a hadith, "Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala as-saff al-awwal." Indeed, Allah and His angels make salah, blessings, for those who pray in the first row. And some Sahaba said, "How about the second row, Ya Rasulullah?" He said, "Indeed, Allah and His angels send peace and blessings upon the first row." How about the second row, Ya Rasulullah, for the second time? He said, and the second row. So he prayed or mentioned, emphasized that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His angels send peace and blessings to those who pray in the first row. If the Imam's voice cannot reach everybody, it is sunnah to do what's called tabligh. Tabligh means conveying the voice on behalf of the Imam. So if there's no speaker system and someone in the back should say Allahu Akbar loudly, so those who are praying in the lobby can hear him, and so on, right? So it's called tabligh because you are conveying the movement of the Imam. So when the Imam make ruku' and say Allahu Akbar, then you say Allahu Akbar, so everybody can hear you. They are following you, and you are following the Imam, so it's the same. In Haram, actually, I was wondering, because in the Haram, you don't need this tabligh, right? You know, when the Imam says Allahu Akbar, and you hear the Mu'adhin say Allahu Akbar, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, right? You hear the Mu'adhin saying that loudly. And perhaps sometimes the Imam's voice is louder than the Mu'adhin voice. I don't know. I can imagine that this was needed back before the speaker system, that everybody in Mecca can hear the Imam, not only and now we can hear the Imam from here. I mean, it's always live. So it was needed at that time. So people, let's say 100 feet, they hear the Imam and they tell everybody. They act like a speaker, the speaker system, right? But now, if everybody hear the Imam, I don't know why this tradition is still alive. I don't know. I will stop here, inshallah, before we move on, talking about the masajid and the adab, or the akhlaq of coming to the masjid, and the things that we are not supposed to, places we're not supposed to pray in, and activities in the masjid, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. But I will stop here, inshallah, and if you have any questions. Yes, those who are on the right And those are closer have more priority. So, okay.
So for the women, you said the preferred is the last row.
Yes.
So how does it affect when the more women is coming and joining in front of them? They can walk in front of the other row?
Okay. When the Prophet ﷺ, this also raised another important way of looking at hadith. If, let's say, if women now pray in totally separate hall, all right? Would this apply? Would the last row be the best row for women? So if the wisdom is to keep a distance between men and women, and there was no curtain, that's another important thing. We are very selective when it comes to religion. I just need you to understand this point. Every community chooses from Islam what fits their culture. This is how culture affects religion. I know I know how to defend this point. I know this could be problematic for some, but this is what it is. This is what it is. People choose how to implement Islam based on the already existing culture. Islam did not make people in Arabia and Saudi Arabia now and Yemen and this area, it's not Islam that made them conservative when it comes to women and things. They were conservative way before Islam. And that's why they choose the version or the understanding of Islam that affirms this conservatism. And vice versa. And that's okay. I don't see any problem with that. That's not problematic. What's more problematic is that to claim this, my culture is Islam. And it's universal. Everybody in the world must do what we are doing here. That's problematic. History and reality tells us that. When Islam comes to a very conservative, socially conservative community, they will like from Islam what affirms this conservatism. And when Islam comes to farmers, it's different from people who are doing trade and business. Every community is different. That's why when you go to Turkey, it's a Muslim country, mashallah, beautiful. You like the mu'adhin and masajid, and very devout people. Not all of them, of course. I'm talking about those who go to the masajid. But they are totally different. I've never seen one imam dressing his imam like traditional clothes outside the masjid. He dresses like everybody else. And at the minbar, he has a small room and he puts his abaya and hat, and then they do their prayer and their adhkar, and they do different dhikr loudly. The imam and everybody in the masjid, they say these together. This is how they do it. Go and tell them this bid'ah. Okay, good luck. So now, would this apply, this first row and second row? I think that what fits the Prophet's masjid is kind of tall or long, and men and women to pray in the same hall. It's one hall for everyone. I remember when we used to have the sisters sitting here, someone came to visit someone here, who was not from here, from Chicago, and it was Saturday. He said, Imam, why you allow women to stay in with the men in the same hall? I said, well, that was the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Yeah, I know, but time changed. And Hazrat Aisha said, if the Prophet was alive today, he would have prevented women from coming to the masjid. I told him, we have one Prophet in Islam. His name is Muhammad. We love Aisha, she's our mother, but she's not a prophet. Even if she said that, she's not a prophet. We get our deen from Quran and from the Sunnah. And Aisha does not know things more than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Islam was perfectly complete by the death of the Prophet. We don't need anybody to add something to it. So the point I want to make very briefly is, I can't talk about this for hours, but I know where he's coming from. He's not, the point of departure is not text. It's not the Quran or the Sunnah, it's all about where he came from. He came from a place where women had no room whatsoever in the masjid. whatsoever. I'm very disappointed when khutbahs in this masjid has been made for women to stay home. Very disappointed. Rasulullah said, never prevent women from coming to the masjid. And yes, he said her prayer in her home is better. Yes, he said that, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But at the same time, he said, do not prevent them from coming. And our situation now is different. We are a small minority here. We need each other. We need to learn from each other. We need to do activities together. So those who are Sufis or like to go to believe in saints and shrines, they took this from Islam. They like this idea. And they Islamize it, Islamizing the culture. What's unique about Islam, what really makes Islam very powerful, is the core values, what we know as al-ma'lum min ad-din bid-darura, the consensus. The whole Muslims agree upon. This area is the core of Islam. Everything else is subject to change based on the local customs and cultures and traditions. And this is, if you look at any Muslim country, you will not find two countries identically doing the same thing. Yes, when it comes to Salah, Ramadan, Hajj, these core values are the same, but how to do things are totally different. What we need to do is to go back to the Quran and the Sunnah and the first generation and see what the saying of the ulama. Of course, the ulama said, for example, a woman cannot be a judge. Of course, at that time, woman cannot be a judge because woman stays home in her father's house and then she goes to her husband's house, spend the rest of her life giving birth to children and nursing and taking care of her. She does not know what's going on behind the walls of her room. Of course, she cannot be judged in this case. But the problem is when we legalize a culture and codify it and standardize it, and this becomes the law to the day of judgment. This is one of the problems that we Muslims could not just solve. We are following laws made in a particular time, influenced by the particular local culture, and we teach now books that have been written 700 years ago. This is what Allama so-and-so said. Ya akhi, Allama, a great scholar. But he is a reflection of his time. We have totally different time, place, circumstances. We just need to use our brain. We just need to use our brain. So what was with the question? Next one.
This question is about Jummah Day. Rasulullah said that whoever comes in the first salah, he will get the reward of the camel sacrifice. But when in America, we have two Jummahs, right? So how does this hadith apply to people who come for second Jummah?
Yeah, we have 1 hour, so if you come right after the first Jummah and wait for the second, the whole idea is that we should respect the symbols of Allah, sha'air Allah. ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ ta'ظim, respecting the sha'air of Allah. So Jum'ah should be respected. And I know some elders who take Jum'ah very seriously. They have to clip their nails every Jum'ah, and they remove any hair in their body, and they take shower. Shower for them was like a wajib, yani it's not, optional. So, showing respect to the symbols of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is important. So if you come as early as you can, that's better.
Come to the both, you will get one camel, one cow.
Okay, so get a camel and a cow. I'm afraid you'll get an egg and if you come very late. But some people intentionally come late. I've been told that some people intentionally come at the salah. We'll talk about Jum'ah in details, but the point is to come as early as possible. And the Prophet ﷺ said, لا زال قوم يتأخرون حتى يؤخرهم الله. Some people will always come late until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep them further. Right? So coming early, sitting closer to the Imam, listen carefully, don't disturb people, don't waste your time or doing nothing. Just then you get this great reward, inshallah. Yes?
I have two questions actually. One, whether it is permissible
Asim, water, please. Thank you.
Whether it is permissible to talk, to say something while in the salah if it is absolutely necessary. For example,
Jum'ah?
Any salah, even the
Uh-huh.
Jum'ah. So let's say, so the Imam fainted.
Uh-huh.
Can somebody say, okay, you know what, I'm going to lead the prayer now. So you take care of this person, or I'm going to take care of.
Jazakallah, shukran. Thank you.
No,
No, you don't have to speak. We're supposed to know this. If God forbid this happen, now you know, right? So now you know what needs to be done. Someone would take the microphone and while praying, pick up the microphone, Allahu Akbar, Sami Allah liman hamida, because those who are in the back, they don't know what's going on, right? Just finish the prayer, make it quick, while others should take care of this emergency. So.
That was question number one. Question number two is about completing the saf. So I've noticed some brothers, planting their feet really wide. It looks
Right.
awkward when people have normal distance.
Right, this is a good point. And another important point, he's talking about those who just open up their legs like this. Just be normal. Don't keep them together or open them up very widely. Just stand normally. So your feet should be parallel to your shoulder, right? And what's even more important is that not to leave gaps. It happens here in this masjid all the time. I've been Americanized. Don't touch. No, you should not leave any gap. Rasulullah ﷺ said, don't leave gaps. Stay straight row, shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet. Don't leave gaps for the shaitan, he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? So this is what happens sometimes when some see this big gap, they want to fill it. But they fill it by opening up very, very much. So we should just help one another. If you see someone far away from you, there's nothing wrong in kindly, while praying, pull him towards you. Right? Naam. Yes, she reads loudly to make her people hear. This is the point. The point of having an imam is to recite on behalf of those who are praying behind, as long as they're only women. Not to put a loudspeaker or something like. If the whole audience are women, and she can use speaker to make them hear, but only for this congregation. Any other questions? Yes.
One Muslim lead to Salat, for example, we make 2 rakat for the Imam and 2 alone. Are we rewarded for the full rakat, 35 times more, or just for the 2 rakat with the Jama'at?
I don't understand.
There is saying that if you could only get in your 2 rakat
With it, no.
out of the 4, so will you get the 25 times more for the full 4 rakat or just the 2 rakat that you did today?
Even if you come to the masjid sincerely to join the jama'ah and you find out that the jama'ah is over and you pray alone, you will get this reward, inshallah. The ulama talked about this. If you are coming sincerely to get the reward of jama'ah and you found out that the jama'ah is over, Imam is done taslim, then you pray by yourself, inshallah, you'll get this 27 time reward. And I think I've been asked last time about the jama'ah, this 20, is only for the masjid, or if you pray jama'ah elsewhere, you also get the reward. And I did some research, and I found it very interesting, because the Prophet ﷺ said, Salatul Jama'ah is better than Salatul Fard 27 times. So if you get 100 reward, if you pray alone, then this 100 times 27. 2,700. All right? So, is this jama'ah in the masjid, or if you pray at home, jama'ah, would you get the same reward? Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam, rahimahullah, and others, Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, they said, yes, this is what the hadith means. Because the Rasulullah is talking about praying in jama'ah versus the one who prays alone. So the opposite of jama'ah is praying alone. And the word jama'ah did not say in the masjid. Right? So if you pray jama'ah at home, on your workplace, okay, inshallah you get this reward. However, If you walk to the masjid, then there's extra reward for the walking. As we mentioned 2 weeks ago, every step you take to the masjid is written. You know, one step you get a reward, and the other step a sin is forgiven. And also when you come to the masjid, the angels will pray, Allahumma ighfir lahu warhamhu. The angel will pray for you. So there are extra rewards for coming, walking to the masjid, entering the masjid. That will not be given because you are praying jama'ah, but somewhere else. And of course, the ulama also said that Salatul Jama'ah for those who can hear the adhan, right, without microphones. And imagine if someone stands at IHD in the top, the rooftop, and is called the adhan. Those who can hear his voice, according to those who said you must come to the masjid, are only those who can hear him. Right? However, I'm not disencouraging you from coming. If you live like within 5-mile radius and masjid is closer, come as much as you can. Because Rasulullah ﷺ said, Man ghada ila al-masjidi aw rah, a'adda Allahu lahu fil jannati nuzulan, kullama ghada aw rah. Your trip to the masjid and from the masjid. Every time you take this trip, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala built for you nuzul. Nuzul means like a rest area for you in Jannah. Right? So, hadith in Bukhari and Muslim. Every time you walk the masjid, and even when you walk from the masjid, going back home, this distance, inshallah, it will be written for you. And this earth will witness to you that he used to go to the masjid and pray and so on. But inshallah, you will get the reward 25 or 27 times if you pray jama'ah. Even, and by the way, it's also, there's another dimension to this discussion. If you come to the masjid and you know your kids are not going to pray, they will just pray أي كلام زي نقول يعني. But if you pray with them, you'll teach them and they will follow you, pray jama'ah on time. Inshallah, you'll also get this reward of teaching your children. Right? And teach your children that you should pray in jama'ah. Right? Even if you are not there, teach them that if you are not there, name one of your children who knows more Quran, should you lead you in prayer, and let them get used to this concept of jama'ah, sticking with the community, with the group. Yes?
If I pray my part, Dohar part, and then I'm praying my sunnah, somebody comes, on the back, and he just tapped my shoulder, and he stand like jama'ah.
Yes, that's jama'ah, and nothing wrong with that, because we meant.
I should start saying louder takbir.
Yeah, yes. You are the imam now. He accepted you as his imam, so you act like an imam.
Whatever I have left, like even if
Yes,
one
absolutely.
I will complete that. And
Complete that, and he will complete what he missed.
what about share for witr prayer? Someone joined me while I'm praying my witr.
You are praying your witr, someone joined you, you finish your witr, and then you will have to pray one more rak'ah if you're praying 3. If you're praying only 1 rak'ah, then you will have to pray 3 more.
So then on my third rak'ah, when I'm making
Make your dua. What's wrong with that? Yeah, nothing wrong. Make your qunut, and he should understand if he's really. Yes.
So, during special winter time, when we have Zohar time and pretty soon and the Asr time start. So, Asr time was started, and there was someone was praying, and he was praying Zohar because he missed the Zohar.
Mm-hmm.
The other person came behind and told him.
Yeah, we talked about the niyyah of the imam. Some ulama said does not make any difference, because you pray with your niyyah. Some ulama, especially in Hanafi, they said no, the imam and ma'mun must have the same niyyah. And you're talking about the Asr time. What Asr time you're talking about? No, there's Maliki, Shafi'i, and Hanbali on one side, and Hanafi, and Abu Hanifa, rahmahullah, have different opinion, which is, to me, I studied the evidence, but I don't want to make a big fuss about this.
The person is praying the Qaza. He's praying char first, or 2 first, or char first, Zohar Qaza. He's praying Qaza, right? And the other person comes, he's praying, let's suppose for nowadays missed the Zohar, so he's praying Zohar first, right? So the two questions. The first question is, if somebody thinks that he's praying Asr, can he join it and he can lead?
Yes, yes, you can do that.
Okay. The second question I have, let's suppose we are praying Asr, right? And this person comes in late. Should he pray first Fajr?
No, he should join the Jama'ah. The general ruling is when you enter the masjid, you find the Jama'ah. If you missed the previous prayer, or if you prayed this prayer somewhere else and you came and join the Jama'ah. And then he prays what he missed, because he already missed Zuhr, right? He already missed it. Some ulama said tartib is important, the order of Salah is important. Now you are praying Asr before Dhuhr, but this is the exception. You don't do this every day. That's the exception.
I also, not sure someone, I heard this, that when you pray Asr Salah till Maghrib, you cannot pray any nawafil or anything first.
But that's not nawafil. If you miss Dhuhr, you are not praying nawafil. That's fard. Fard to be prayed at any time. At any time. If Rasulullah ﷺ said, "Man nama an salatin aw nasiyaha falyusalliha idha dhakaraha. Laysa laka fal." If you forgot your prayer or you are asleep, pray it once you remember it. Rasulullah said that. Once you remember it, pray it.
So this is what I'm saying, right? So the person who came here to pray the Azan first, but he saw the Asr Jamaat is going.
Join Asr and then pray Dhuhr after Asr. And prayer after Asr, by the way, we talked about this, is the Imam al-Shafi'i said, yes, you can pray Tahiyyat al-Masjid, the 2 rak'ahs, between Asr, Istikhara, you can pray all nafil that has a reason. If you made wudu, you want to pray 2 rak'ah after wudu, yes, you can do that. You want to pray Istikhara after Asr, yes, you can do that. But the only prayer that's not allowed is that just praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, don't pray in that time. So, but I know in the Hanafi madhab sometimes things are straightforward. No, you cannot do that. But if you if you enter the masjid when the Jama'ah is going on, join the Jama'ah. And as I mentioned last time, some very weak opinion that he in this case he should pray Asr and then pray Dhuhr and then pray another Asr to keep the order. It doesn't make any sense. And Rasulullah ﷺ prohibited us from praying one Salah twice. You cannot pray 2 Dhuhr one day or 2 Asr. Right? So if you prayed, let's say Dhuhr somewhere, and you came to the masjid and the Jama'ah is going on, you join the Jama'ah and that will be nafil to you. Right? So the niyyah of you is different from the niyyah of the Imam, because you are praying nafil and the Imam is praying fard. Allah A'lam.
Somebody is praying at home, say, like you prayed your Jama'ah in the masjid, and you go to somebody's place, and if they are doing Jama'ah there,
The place it's up to you. If you want to join, fine. If you don't want to join, but in the masjid you must join. Yes.
You get the ayat sujood, you prayed your Asr, and then you were ready for
Join the Jama'ah.
No, I'm talking about if you prayed your Asr, then you're reciting Quran, and then you get an ayat sujood. Can you make it
According to Imam Shafi'i and others, yes, you can make.
even this time for makruh?
Yes, because there is a reason for this. You're not just doing it out of devotion to Allah and just want to pray absolute prayer. There's a reason for it, right? So in this case, yes, you can do that. And again, some ulama said no, but I think there's a good reason for you to make this sujood. Yes.
One of the common part is that standing on the right side of the Imam while the Imam is leading the prayer gets you more credit than on the left side. Can you shed some light?
Well, the hadith, also another hadith when we talk about the first row, the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his angels pray upon the first row and the mayamin as-sufuf, those who stand on the right. Yes, but this does not mean that we start the line from the right. Okay, and the Prophet said, "Wasitul imam," keep the imam in the middle. So you grow from this, go to the right, to the left, but you have to start the line. And some also come late, and I've seen this, very tiny, small space here is not even enough for a cat. And he goes and squeezes himself to get the reward of first prayer. Yeah, you're late. You are late. It's better not to come at all. So, if you really want to get the reward, just come early. Didn't it happen with you sometimes? And because of this also, this angle here, It seems like there's a space, but there's no space. You cannot make sujood here. But what have to compensate this, you have to really push the other person to squeeze yourself, and the other person will be very upset. Even if he does not scream you or slap you in the face, but he's very upset because you made his life difficult. So, and this yameen also, if we start behind them and everybody comes to the right, and then you are going against the sunnah of keeping them in the middle. So, is this what you're asking about?
The question is, do you get extra credit for being on the right versus left?
Well, according to the hadith, yes. Mayamin as-sufuf, those who are in the right. But again, this does not mean that we just start the line from the right. It should come. If you are coming early, then you have a lot of options. If you are coming late, you have less options. So use them wisely. Don't bother other people. Allahu A'lam.
But even when you come early, a lot of people will start going from the middle to the right if they know there's more credit.
Well, when the iqamah is made, the imam should direct them. Stand behind the imam first.
Right, but let's say there's 10 people, right? So then they will get the priority to go from middle.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So they should start from behind the imam. And usually we fill the vacuum in the first row, and then the vacuum. Man wasala saffan wasalahu Allah. The Prophet ﷺ said that if you connect a line or a row by filling it, may Allah connect with you. And if you disconnect or disturb a row, may Allah disturb him. So when you see a vacuum in the row in front of you, go and fill it. A real vacuum, not a tiny cat space. It's always good to make sure that the first rows are filled first. Yes.
So, like you said, whenever first prayer, suppose you sleep or you forget, but you have to pray whenever you remember that. So, Asr, suppose you delay it and it goes into almost like sunset time. So, is it still? I mean, you should still pray Asr that time.
You pray fard whenever you remember it. Whenever you remember, because it's fard. What's makruh is nafl, absolute nafl. But fard, you pray it anytime, right? And other, if you pray one rak'ah before the end of the time, this will count as praying on time. So, yeah, pray Asr even before the sunset. Yes.
Imam, you just mentioned about the women leading the salah. So is it ijma across all imam, or?
No, if women are together and they want to pray jama'ah, it's good to pray jama'ah, but they don't have to pray jama'ah.
Across all madhab?
Yes. So why are you asking this question? What?
I'm not sure. I just probably heard that this makruh in women leading the jama'ah.
Of women? Well, let me say the hadith again. I said we have one prophet. We have one prophet, right? Let me see what the prophet said. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Where is it? Aisha radiallahu anha used to lead women, and she stands with them in the row. And Salama, another wife of the Prophet sallallahu وجعل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لأم ورقة. Waraqah, one of the companions, who used to lead women in prayer, and he actually appointed a mu'adhin to make adhan, and he ordered her to lead women in fard in her house. So, I don't know. The one who says makruh must present an evidence. He has the burden of the proof. Well, I've never heard anyone say that that's not the case. Woman leading men is a different story, and I don't want to talk about it. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.